Hi, babies. It's Cammy. I love you and I miss you. Here's a book, The Berenstain Bears and the Papa's Day Surprise. And inside you could fill in your name. And here are some stickers that go with the book. And when you get it, you can put the stickers through the book. There's Mama Bear and that little bear and the sister and brother. And they're on top of a cornucopia filled with things. Here's the Berenstain Bears and the Papa's Day Surprise. Papa Bear is a bear of many opinions. He has opinions about all sorts of things. He has an opinion about the best way to fell trees. And he's shouting, "Timber!" before the tree falls down. He has an opinion about predicting the weather. And he says, the best way to predict the weather is by observing the length of the woolly bear caterpillar's coat. He has an opinion about the best kind of honey. He says, no question about it, wild honey is the best. There's the bees chasing him. And though in his opinion Mother's Day is a fine and proper holiday and worthy tribute to the institution of motherhood, he didn't think much of Father's Day. Let's just skip Father's Day this year. It's just a scheme to get folks down to the mall and buy lots of gifts, not to mention a bunch of icky, sticky Father's Day cards. That's fine with us, said Mama. It's a busy time for me, and when the quilting bee comes up, and with the school year ending, the cubs are going to be pretty busy too. Then it's agreed, said Papa. We are not going to make a fuss about Father's Day. A few days later, Papa was fixing a creaky front step. Mama was working on her tulip bed, and baby Honey Bear was playing on the grass. Above their heads, a pair of robins was hard at work building a nest. The fuss about Father's Day is a lot of nonsense, said Papa. Look at that Daddy Robin helping a Mama Robin build a nest. He doesn't need to have a fuss made over him. He's happy to do his job, building the nest, sitting on the eggs when the time comes, and digging up worms when the chicks hatch. That Daddy Robin doesn't need a special day, and neither do I. Yes, dear, said Mama. Papa was about to continue when he heard a noise in his shop. Hey, he said, there's somebody rooting around in my shop. If those pesky raccoons again, But it wasn't the raccoons. It was Brother and Sister Bear. What are you two up to? Asked Papa. We're just getting some stuff for a school project, said Brother. That's right, said Sister, a school project. Brother was holding a piece of special paper that Papa used for his furniture designs. Sister was holding a roll of the paper Papa put out when he was painting. Okay, said Papa, just so it's got nothing to do with Father's Day. But as Father's Day drew closer, talk about it was very much in the air, and on the air on the radio as well. And now, with Father's Day approaching, a word of tribute to all you dads out there. And on television said, don't forget Father's Day. And at the mall, Father's Day shirt special, and sweaters for Dad, ties for Dad, and just about everywhere else. Just as the drip, drip of water can wear away solid rock, the constant talk about Father's Day began to wear away Papa's opinion about Father's Day. A couple of days before Father's Day, Mama and Papa were in the living room. Mama was putting the finishing touches on a quilt. You know, said Papa, I think I'm being a little selfish about Father's Day. It's a lot of nonsense, of course, but cubs are cubs, and if they want to make a little fuss about it... Oh, sorry, dear, said Mama. I was counting stitches. I didn't hear a word you were saying. Then the phone rang, and Mama picked it up. Yes, she said, this is she. Yes, Mrs. Bruin. It's all arranged. See you there. Goodbye. What was that about? Asked Papa. Just some quilting business, said Mama. And by the way, said Papa, where are the cubs? They're over at Cousin Fred's working on a big scout project, said Mama. Ah, said Papa. I thought they were working on a big school project. That's right, said Mama. It's a big school and scout project. Papa would never have admitted it, but it was beginning to hope that Mama and the cubs wouldn't worry about his opinion regarding Father's Day. He even looked in drawers and closets for hidden presents. He couldn't find any. Now it was the day before Father's Day. Papa was on his way to his shop when he noticed the Daddy Robin. Mama Robin laid eggs, and the Daddy was sitting on them. Mr. Robin, said Papa, I think Mama and the cubs are up to something, and I think I know what it is. It's Father's Day. They're going to surprise me. Mr. Robin didn't say anything. He just sat there. Papa knew what Mama and the cubs were doing. they were pretending to skip Father's Day. Well, 2 could play at that game. Tomorrow morning, when he woke up to breakfast in bed and lots of presents and cards on Father's Day, he would pretend to be surprised. But the next morning, he didn't have to pretend. He really was surprised. There was no breakfast in bed. There were no gifts or cards. But wait a minute. What was that delicious smell coming from the kitchen? It was his favorite food, French fried honeycomb. There was going to be a Father's Day breakfast. It just wasn't going to be in bed. But the French fried honeycomb wasn't for him at all. Mama explained that it was a gift for the new family down the road. Papa went out and sat on the front steps. The daddy robin flew by. He was carrying a worm in his newly hatched chicks. "Happy Father's Day, Mr. Robin," said Papa, "for all the good it's doing us." At that moment, Mama and the cubs came down to the front steps. "Where are you going?" asked Papa. "What about breakfast?" "We're all going to brunch at Grizzlemore Grill." "Huh?" said Papa. "The Grizzlemore Grill, please," said the cubs as they piled into the car. When they arrived, folks were lined up at the entrance. "Look," said Papa, "there's a sign over the door that says, 'Welcome, Dads.'" "So there is," said Mama with a big grin. There was a much bigger sign inside. It said, "Welcome to the Papa's Day Surprise." It was painted on a roll of paper the cubs had gotten for the school project. And there was a stage with a long table. "Go ahead, Papa," said the cubs, "up on stage with the other papas." He found a chair with his name on it at the long table. Other papas were on the stage with him. Lizzie Bruin's papa, Cousin Fred's papa, even Too Tall's papa. Other papas filled the seats. And the food, all Papa's favorite. French fried honeycomb, honey-cured salmon, honey-eyed squash. Oh, there they are, all sitting up on the special stage, just for the dads. Someone began to speak. It was Mayor Honeypot. And now we shall hear from those who put in this wonderful surprise together. Our first speakers will be Brother and Sister Bear. Brother and Sister cleared their throats and read a poem. It was on the special paper they had taken from Papa's shop. "To the best Papa Bear in the whole wide world, you are big and strong and true. And no matter what we do, we know we can depend on you. You cheer us on when we are glad. You cheer us up when we are sad. You're always there for us to help, advise, and care for us. Happy Father's Day." Oh, it's a lovely poem. Papa looked out over the audience, but he could hardly see. His eyes were misty, and he had a lump in his throat as big as a cantaloupe. After Brother and Sister read their poem, it was Lizzie Bruin's turn to say something about her dad. After Lizzie came Cousin Fred. As the cubs read their tributes, Papa thought about all the wonderful moments he had shared with his family. Well, they weren't always wonderful, but they were certainly moments. Suddenly, there was a sound of applause and cheering. It brought Papa back to the here and now of the Papa's Day surprise. Cubs and mamas were on their feet. It had been a wonderful party and a wonderful Father's Day. The guests headed for their homes. "Cubs," said Papa as he drove down the hill to their treehouse home, "I want to thank you for that lovely poem." "Mama helped us with it," said Brother. "Also," said Papa, "I want to thank you for the Papa's Day surprise. It was a wonderful gift." "That," said Sister, "was the gift for all the papas. We and Mama have a special gift just for you." "Just for me?" said Papa. He pulled to a stop at the treehouse and he hurried up the front steps, through the front door, and into the living room. When he saw what was waiting for him, he could hardly believe his eyes. "A Berka lounger," he cried, "just what I've always wanted." It was a special chair that you could adjust up and down. It was a perfect chair for Papa. Baby Honey began to cry. She was hungry. It was also the perfect place to feed Baby Honey. Mama and the cubs watched with big smiles as Papa sat back in his new Berka lounger and gave Baby Honey her bottle. And there's some more stickers in the back of the book. That's a pretty good Father's Day book. I love you, bebes. Night-night, pleasant dreams.